let's be very honest here. Sports are the biggest soap opera on TV. Sports is the biggest soap opera on TV. I love it. I embrace it. There are fantastic stories going on right now in the world of sports. I love it. I'm all in. And yet you guys say sports is not about drama. You say, Zach, sports is all about the game. No, it's not. No, it is not. It is for some people, for a few people who understand the higher level of football. They have higher knowledge. I know football really well. I can read a defense. I can break down cover two. I can break down a football game. You probably can't. Not a lot of people can do that. But some people know baseball really well, or they know basketball really well. They understand how the game works. And for you, great. I understand the nerdy science of football. But for most people, sports is about revenge between LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. It's about hating Tom Brady or celebrating when the New Orleans Saints can rise from the ashes of Hurricane Katrina. The Cubs didn't win a World Series for 100 years. Sports is about stories, and it is about drama. Sports is about drama. So I started writing my bit about why Tom Brady should be the NFL MVP. And then I started writing my little short bit about why LeBron James should be the NFL MVP, or the NBA MVP. And I realized, what am I arguing about? Validation? My guy won? What is this? I said LeBron James was the MVP and I got it right. My guy won. I was right. You were wrong. Based on what? There's no definition for most valuable player. There's not. Look it up. Go to NFL.com. Nothing. Go to NBA.com. Nothing. Wikipedia says it's based on the guy who has the best performance, but I can't find that anywhere. I can't find anywhere it actually defines it that way. That's because it's ambiguous on purpose. The leagues don't want to define what makes an MVP. The leagues don't want to define what most valuable player actually means because sports are about drama. All these blog posts, all these discussions, what's your criteria? How do you define valuable? All this stuff, this whole narrative, all these talking points, it helps the league. It's created by the league and it helps the league. Sports helps the media helps sports. For example, is MVP, is that the best performance, which means the guy with the best stats? Or is it valuable? Because if it's valuable, LeBron James and whatever quarterback played best in the NFL that year, those are the MVPs every year. LeBron James would be the NBA MVP for 10 years in a row. Because valuable is LeBron James. So what I'm going to do next episode, I'm going to make my own criteria. And you can hate it, you can love it, we'll argue about it. It'll be fun. I'm going to play the game. But I wanted to point out the circus that, what are we doing? You can't win a game with no rules, and there are no rules. There is no actual rule book. There's no definition for what makes a most valuable player. It's supposed to create arguments. I understand that, and it's good for sports. It really is. To have think of how much content is out there about MVP. For, against, criteria, everything. Everybody talks about MVP all the time. But it's a thing that's created to form a narrative. So I don't care. I don't know. I just what's better for the NFL right now? What is it? Is it Tom Brady? Because it makes his legacy look even better if Tom Brady wins another NFL MVP. And then it's also fun because people hate Brady, so it'll be, I hate Brady, I'm so mad, and we'll get more posts about that. Or maybe Todd Gurley's better for the NFL if he wins the MVP. Because then we can debate that, and what does this mean? How do we interpret this? How do we interpret this for MVP? Because he's not really the most valuable person on his own team. So next episode, I'll join in on the fun. I will pick who I think the NFL MVP is. I'll pick who I think the NBA MVP is at this point. I'll make my own criteria, what I think MVP actually stands for. But I just wanted to point out, most valuable player is kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb. Without a definition, most valuable player is kind of meaningless. because we don't have any standard. We don't have any way of knowing. It's not black and white. It's all about arguing, and it's there to argue. And I wanted to point out the circus because you can't find the definition of most valuable player anywhere. And I just think that's weird. I wish there was I don't. It's better that there's not a clear definition because, again, there's way more, for me at least, there's way more things I can talk about if we don't have a defined way of arguing. Because you'd end the argument right there if you said it's about valuable. Bam, it's always LeBron. No question, right? So you can't define it if you're one of the leagues. But I wanted to point out, it's kind of hard to, like, how can you be right and I be wrong when there's no clear rules? I want to point that out. The NFL MVP, any MVP is kind of dumb.